Hey, what is up there, guys? This is Zojalix, and I am coming back with another segment of the tutorial for The Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, Aragorn Easy. Now, I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently for this tutorial versus the others. I'm just going to be covering the basics of I'm going to be covering the basics of Breached Wall, and I'm going to be using the world record video of Aragorn Easy, which is my time of 49:54, to kind of go over it because it's such a random level that in order to explain it best, I don't want to have to be trying to play at the same time. Hence why my old layout is set up as well as my input display, because I just took the cut VOD that is on YouTube. And I'm just going to be kind of explaining some of the stuff that is important to know about the level. I'm not about the two levels. I'm not going to be going into a lot of major details about Breached Wall because Breached Wall in itself is just a long level of killing enemies, and a lot of it is just about reacting to the way that they move. So we'll go ahead, jump into it. Yeah, so you're going to be hearing me talk a little bit. I apologize for that. Actually, you might not, but anyway. So the level just starts off with a simple cutscene. Nothing really too big going on. Uh, it's honestly just overall, it's a really, really, really straightforward level. The basics of it is you're just gonna have to know how to react to the different enemies as they come up. And the majority of enemies that you're gonna be going up against are these sappers here. Um, the two axe orcs that we've seen in previous levels like Fangorn Forest, as well as the shield enemies. They're actually the two enemies also that we saw in the prologue. So those are enemies that you are going to be having to go up against. And so really understanding how those enemies function and really understanding how those enemies work are going to be the biggest tricks to your success. Um, there's me just like freaking out at the way that those sappers behaved. So as you probably noticed in the beginning of the level, and I'm doing it right here, I stand right up at the front of the breach and I use my Wrath of Numenor ability. Wrath of Numenor, what it allows you to do is the reason why we use that is it will kill the sappers right away, and it also, while you are in that animation, it gives you invulnerability frames, hence why we use that. And then with these enemies, for the shield guys, we want to kill them quickly, so we just use Wrath of Numenor because it breaks through their shield really fast, and they go down and they just go down instantaneously. For the non-shield guys, we are going to be either using Isildur's Swift Terror, which is the ability that we got early on, or Isildur's Judgment, which is the other ability that we've bought. It really kind of depends on the groups that they're in. If they get behind us, as you notice that, as you can see me doing, we want to utilize our bow. We want to do a full charge shot because it will kill them right away. So there's a Sealer's Judgment. If they get around you and get to the gate and are clumped up in the gate, use a Sealer's Judgment. You're just able to take out a lot of them really quickly. And when they start coming out in the bigger groups, you kind of want to play back more, just to give yourself time to look at the pattern that the enemies are coming at and be able to set yourself up. So as you can see here, I did a Sealer's Judgment. This gets me into perfect mode. Getting into perfect mode here is super nice because while it's not necessary in order to go fast, it's just nice because when you are in perfect mode, you still one-shot enemies because we have the max upgraded Gondor bow, and it allows us just to be able to perform the level extremely optimally. So yeah, the biggest thing that you'll notice is this level is extremely RNG heavy because it all depends on the way that you play according to the enemies and their positions. So make sure you are paying extreme attention to the way that the enemies interact throughout the level. And so this is going to go on for quite some time. What's going to happen is this is going to happen until you get to around this area here. This is where these enemies are going to be coming out. Uh, so, um, yeah. So the Berserker enemies, we'll kind of go back actually a little bit because there's one more cue I want to look for. So, um, I think it's after this clump of enemies. So you're going to be fighting enemies for a while. It'll take about 3.5 minutes fighting enemies, and it'll feel like forever. These 3.5 minutes will feel like 100 years, especially when you're on a good pace. I know during this time, I had felt like this was extremely slow, even though I had this ended up being the world record run. So I don't know where they spawned in. This must have been a really bad archers. Um, So right here, you see these Urukai come in. Those Urukai will signal that you're getting close to the end because once they spawn in, you kill them. The shield and axe orcs are going to be spawning in constantly rather than coming in individual waves. They're just going to be flying in, and at that point, you want to play back by the door. If they get up to you, you are going to be using Isildur's Judgment. But as they are coming in, do your best to focus your range shots on the sappers because as they blow up, you can set up those chain reactions that will allow for you to kill them quickly. As you can see here, I get those chain reactions and the enemies don't come up that much. And then as you can see here, what we'll do is the Berserkers and this group of armored Urukai will show up, and you want to use a Wrath of Numenor to kill them. But unfortunately, in this instance, the sword went through the Berserker, and but with the Berserker, you just want to use Wrath of Numenor. That is just overall going to be your best bet. If you can get all of those orcs in the big clump to die right away, that would be most optimal. And then just spam quick shots to try and kill the archers. They're going to be absolute pills. You really just can't do too much about it. You just kind of have to just hope and pray that you're able to kill them. Well, I mean, the archers actually aren't too terribly important. Don't focus on them as much. Focus solely on the berserkers and the Urukai, and that'll get you through the level. When the troll here spawns, kind of play back a little bit. I was already back, but if you're close up to the breach, make sure you're playing back so that way the troll will come towards you. And then as the troll comes towards you, he'll throw a couple of logs, but you want him to get closer to you just so that way you can then use the Wrath of Numenor to kill him quickly. And then there's going to be this really long cutscene here. Well, not really long, but it'll be a decently long cutscene that will lead up to the catapult segment. The catapult segment is the part where it is still very possible to die in the run, even if you have all of the max health upgrades because of the strats that we do. What you're going to want to do is you want to just avoid the leader, parry the arrows as you can, and as these guys come up, you can either Wrath of Numenor them to try and kill them instantly, or you can go for an Isildur's Judgment. I'm not exactly sure what's better there. I think that's more of just personal preference. I am starting to lean more towards Isildur's Judgment, but if you guys are able to test that out and see what happens, that would be great. And then the positioning here is super important. I got kind of trolled by the fire pit there, but what you want to do is you'll see, I don't know if I might end up being really dumb here. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, I move into the corner, and by standing right on the edge of those wheels, you're able to hit two sides of the catapult at once, and you want to hit it with Wrath of Numenor because that will do the most damage, thus allowing you to, like, just you will just allowing you to make it through that a lot faster than normal. So I did say I was gonna make this one video. I'm just gonna actually make this two because realizing I'm at like the 9 minute mark. But yeah, that's a lot of breached wall. Just make sure that you're analyzing enemy patterns, knowing how they function, and it will become a lot easier from there. If you don't have all the health upgrades here, get the health upgrades. Get Isildur's Judgment, Wrath of Numenor, Gondor Bow, all of that stuff. If you don't have those, make sure you get them. This is going to be the longest kill screen ever because you do kill a crap ton of enemies. So just expect that is like anticipate that. And then I will see you guys over. That'll be the end for Breach Wall, and we will get started in the next video with Hornburg Courtyard, thus finishing up the tutorial for Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, Aragorn Easy.